Hi everyone, I'm Jessica and welcome to my kitchen. I'm so excited to be with you today to share a recipe for one of my favorite recipes, vegan baked ribs. So these ribs are wonderful because not only are they super delicious with a great chewy, meaty texture, but they're also affordable to make with simple to find ingredients in a very easy preparation. Summertime is in full effect, and so if you're craving flavors from the cookout, but you don't feel like heating up the grill, these baked vegan ribs are a great way to make them in the comfort of your own kitchen in a fraction of the time. All you need is beans, mushrooms, barbecue sauce, and of course, spices to add savory flavors. So to make this recipe today, we'll be using chickpeas, portobello mushrooms, and barbecue sauce. Now, for this recipe, if you want to make it even easier and you have an international grocery or an Asian market nearby, I highly encourage you to pick up enoki mushrooms instead of portabellas because they have that nice fine texture that has a nice meat-like shred to it and chew once it's cooked. So portabellas are an excellent option because you can find them in most supermarkets, but enokis are a great swap if you have access to them nearby. We'll be flavoring these baked vegan ribs with some pantry staples like garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, and cumin, but we'll also be using some Old Bay seasoning for extra aromatics, and we'll be using miso. So miso paste is going to give you a nice savory umami flavor, but if you don't have miso, you can easily swap it out for tamari sauce, liquid aminos made from soy protein, or even coconut aminos if you're soy free, or you could use up a few of those soy sauce packets that you might have left over from your Chinese carryout in this recipe. So with all that said, let's get right into this recipe so I can show you just how simple it is to make some tender, chewy, meaty, baked vegan ribs at home. To start, we're going to make our flavor base by adding miso paste, barbecue sauce, garlic powder, onion powder, ground cumin, and smoked paprika to a bowl, along with some Old Bay seasoning for extra aromatic flavor, and mixing everything together until well combined. A thick paste should form that we're going to use to flavor our mushrooms and our chickpea rib base. So we're going to set this aside and start working on our chickpeas. So first things first, we're going to take one 15-ounce can of chickpeas and reserve about 2 tablespoons of the liquid and then drain the rest off and pour our drained chickpeas into a bowl, or you can add them to a food processor. I'm just going to mash them up with a fork, but you could also use a food processor and pulse them until a nice flaky texture forms. Be sure not to over mash or over food process because you don't want them to get mushy. That flakiness adds extra texture. So now that our chickpeas are mashed, we're going to add in half of the seasoning base along with our reserved chickpea water and mix everything together until well combined. Once our chickpea mixture is nice and seasoned, we're going to add a binder, which in this case is a combination of chickpea flour and milled chia seeds, but you could use either chickpea flour only or chia seeds or flax seeds only, but they're going to absorb the excess moisture in the mixture and the chickpea mixture will start to take on a dough-like consistency. So we'll set that aside, and now we're going to start on our mushrooms. So I have 4 large portobello mushroom caps here that I am thinly slicing. Once the mushrooms are all sliced up, we are going to go ahead and add those to a mixing bowl. And then we'll add the remainder of the seasoning base and start to gently mix everything together until it's well combined. We just want those mushrooms evenly coated with the seasoning base that we made. This is going to help to draw out the excess moisture from the mushrooms and also flavor them once again. So to prep these mushrooms, we are going to add a sheet of parchment paper to a baking sheet, and we're going to spread the mushrooms out into an even layer. Then they're going in the oven to broil for about 10 to 15 minutes, and the goal is to cook off the excess moisture and bring some color and chewy texture to those mushrooms. And so when they're all cooked, they'll have this deep color and a lot of the excess moisture will be cooked off. Now we're going to take our chickpea mixture and divide it into 3 even portions. And then we'll take our first portion and spread it out into an even layer on a fresh sheet of parchment paper on our baking sheet. We want this mixture to be spread out about 10 to 12 inches wide. It doesn't have to be exact, we just want a nice thin layer. Then we'll top it off with half of our mushrooms and add another layer of the chickpea mixture, followed by the remaining mushrooms. And then we will take that final portion of the chickpea mixture and spread it out into an even, smooth layer on top of our vegan rib patty. I'm just using the edge of my spatula to give it a nice rectangular shape. And then we're going to use a knife to cut our rib sections. So I'm going to cut it into 8 even sections. You could cut it into 6 sections, but I'm just starting in the middle, cutting in half, and then cutting each section in half to get nice even portions. And now I'm going to top everything off with about 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce. And we're just going to take our spatula again and spread that into a nice even layer so that our ribs are evenly coated. And once everything is spread out evenly, these are going into a 375-degree Fahrenheit oven, and they will cook until a nice char starts to form around the edges. And that's how you make these ribs. And that's how it's done. I told you it was simple, right? These baked vegan ribs are definitely going to be in your rotation once you make them for the first time. They're so easy and affordable. Honestly, you can pick up the main ingredients like the mushrooms, chickpeas, and barbecue sauce for around $10 or less. And so it makes it super affordable, making it perfect for a weeknight meal or to pack and carry along to any summer celebrations you might be attending. If you want the full written recipe, check out our description box or the comments for the link to this recipe below, or you can go over to Afro-Vegan-Society.org and type in baked vegan ribs in the search bar and it'll pop right up. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any new video content from Afro-Vegan Society. We've got shorts, we've got vegan value meals, we've got Tasty for $10, and we've got so many new things coming very, very soon that you don't want to miss. So subscribe today, like this video, and leave a comment below letting us know what your favorite vegan summer recipe is. See you in the next video. Bye everyone.